All right, we're going to do a brief intro here. So I just realized that I wasn't recording, and I want to welcome everyone to watching the recording. This is a wonderful celebration of our 10th anniversary at Simple Scrapper, and I'm so grateful to have this community here and to be focusing on the evolution of scrapbooking tonight, to look back 10 years and to maybe look into the future as well. All right, thank you, Wendy, so much for saving me. So what we're going to do tonight, we're kicking things off with a little icebreaker. And if you could each share, whether it's in the chat box or orally, one thing that you enjoy about Simple Scrapper. And you do have the permission to unmute yourself if you're currently muted. So Honore loves the community.
Props.
And Julie's the people here what make everything so special. Oh, go ahead, Carol-Ann.
Crops.
Carol-Ann loves the crop. She is our #1 member host. It works so well to gather here with each other and connect and just have that real life sense of accountability, like we're in the same room together, even though we're spread all across the world.
I like the challenges.
Challenges too. Are there any particular types of ones you enjoy?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Any particular type of challenge that you enjoy?
It's not so much an individual challenge, it's more the challenge that we each are encouraged to bring out our very best resources, our inner resources, to be ourselves with our memory keeping, our scrapbooking. And so it's very personalized without saying, hey, I'm doing this for Honore and I'm doing this for Jennifer, but we pull up the challenge for ourselves. I hope I've explained that.
No, that's so beautiful. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Makes perfect sense. Barbara says she loves the encourage to do what we can, when we can, and with what we can. That's another way of saying something really similar. Kim loves our refresh retreats. Bree loves our book club and our crops. The book club is one of my favorite things because I love to read, but I'm not a voracious reader. And it helps me stay in touch with some of my favorite types of nonfiction and always be thinking about how I can improve my scrapbooking hobby and improve my life and how it supports my scrapbooking hobby.
All right. I love the monthly magazine a lot.
Oh, you love the magazine. Awesome. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Is that Peggy?
Yeah.
So Spark is our monthly member magazine, and we put so much love into it. Our creative team is so talented, and it's just it's that opportunity to just kind of cuddle up, even though you're cuddling up with a computer or a laptop or a tablet or even your phone. It's that, that warm and cozy feeling of enjoying your scrapbooking and just really soaking in lots of inspiration. Bree, did you have something you wanted to add? I thought you popped in
Just
there.
that, yeah, no, just that I totally blanked on Spark. I love Spark. I like reading a lot too, though.
And so those of you who are here at 2 o'clock, I am still drinking the same coffee from 2 o'clock. I did reheat it. All right, so my agenda for tonight is I'm going to be scrapping from 3 existing layouts. So basically I'm scrap lifting myself, and 2 of these are really, really old digital layouts that I created when I first started scrapbooking. And so I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about where I was 10 years ago. I had tried scrapbooking in 2005. I made 2 layouts. I purchased a Colossal so that I could trace my photos and cut them into weird shapes, circles and squares. I did some things with torn paper, and I felt that this was a really complicated hobby, and it took me like 6 hours to do 1 page because I had no idea what I was doing. So I did those 2 pages, and then I didn't come back to it for 3 more years. But 3 years later, my life was so much different. I had just moved, and I was kind of looking for something to do with my extra time, and my laptop sent me to 2 Peas in a Bucket. And that's how I found digital scrapbooking, is I downloaded some freebie kits, and I think I already had Photoshop Elements. I don't remember. I'd learned Photoshop way back in the day, back in Photoshop 4. So I had enough skills to just kind of jump in, and I don't know, as they say, the rest is history. I love digital scrapbooking, and I still think it's so fun, but it was a certain point when I wanted to get off the computer. So I would say in 2011, 2012-ish, I wanted to spend less time on the computer because I was doing so much for work, and that's how I ended up transitioning to paper scrapbooking. But I still have a special spot in my heart for digital, and of course we have tons of digital scrapbookers as part of our community. Bree just led a digital scrapbooking Q&A in the previous 2 hours, so I hope that went well, because I know that there's lots of folks who are at different levels in their digital journeys. So let me see here. I'm gonna switch the computer, switch the camera here, and show you some things. Let's move this over. All right. So all of my digital layouts I printed as 8x8. And I want to point out a couple of them here. I did a lot that had no journaling at all. I wasn't very story focused when I began. Here's a couple more. This no journaling at all. I was really just kind of getting my feet wet, learning design, figuring out this layering thing. This, I remember at the time, this was one of my absolute favorites. I don't think I used a template, but I think I was inspired. Maybe it was like a scrap lift or something else. But again, no journaling. And then I started getting more into like more grid-based designs, and those always kind of had a little home for journaling. Here's another one that I remember at the time I was super proud of, that had 2 photos and a nice kind of, I don't know, nest for my photo and a nice area for my journaling. I've always been a really big fan of typewriter fonts. But yeah, it was, I would say that moving to paper scrapbooking gave me a little bit more interest in the story. And I would say it was around that time, because this is probably one of the later digital pages that I did, that I was more into story and more into focusing on why am I scrapbooking this photo. I did a lot of experimentation in the beginning just to play with things on the page and make them look pretty. And then as I transitioned more to, I was thinking more about paper and getting more involved in the community, I definitely went more story focused. And so I wanted to use this particular layout today as an inspiration point for a 6x8 page. But I would love to hear kind of a little bit of your story of what's one of the biggest things that's changed for you in the past decade. So for me, it's definitely a much larger emphasis on storytelling and story first scrapbooking. And then of course, a big transition to actually a paper format for me. Even though I would say some of my style is actually pretty similar, this color pattern, the textures, this is very consistent with things that I still like. I'm just doing it in paper format now. All right, now on to you guys.
I guess it would be more embracing cloud technology. This is Bree. The fact that I am fine with all my photos being in the cloud, and I have that access to do them anywhere I want. You know, when I first started scrapbooking, it was in the early 90s, and everything was printed out at Walgreens and very rarely at that. And now it's just like I'm free to do whatever I want. And it really, technology has just kind of emboldened me to try new things and be able to do things like art journaling and all this other stuff without being afraid of the cost and being afraid of messing up. And when I first started, even though I started as more hybrid, it still felt like it had a lot of risk to it. You know, I didn't have money to print a lot of photos, and I didn't have, like a lot of resources. And now the resources are just so abundant that it just feels freer.
I love that. I love that so much. Who else wants to go?
For me, it was that I think a decade ago, I wasn't even scrapbooking anymore because I had gotten really burned out on the chronological idea. I had done the whole decade of the 90s very chronologically, very event driven, and I was just completely uninspired by that. So I can thank Stacy for getting me off of that track and really getting story focused in a similar way as what you're talking about, Jennifer. But yeah, it was to get out of that mode where I had to scrap every picture and had to do it in order and had to have it in the right order in the album and all that stuff. I pretty much abandoned all of that, and I think it's really liberated me.
I feel like that's been one of the, I would imagine that I would hear that from a lot of people, that, and part of it is just the sheer quantity of photos that we're taking now. We can't possibly scrapbook every photo. 15, 20 years ago, that was feasible. You still had to be an active, avid, serious scrapbooker to do that, but it was more feasible because we didn't take that many photos. You took 12 or 24 at a time, and then got them developed. But with digital, and then now even beyond digital, but having your camera in your hand and on your person at all times, there's just so many photos, and the things that Stacy was talking about a decade ago are now just make that much more sense because of the number of photos we have.
Exactly.
All right, who else wants to share some of their evolution?
I will. I probably don't have, it's Betty Lou. You can see my ceiling. I can hold my iPad up.
Betty Lou, down here, girl.
Yeah, I know. It's just so hard to like walk around and keep holding it up. Back in the 90s, I started scrapbooking when my older daughter graduated from photography school, and my younger daughter graduated from high school, and we can get rid of that glare maybe. So I was new, and I was by myself, and I mean, not by myself in my life, but by myself in scrapbooking. And I was just kind of, cutting things out and putting everything on the page and like 2 colors and maybe a little bit of embellishment, but it was mostly stickers. And then I found a local scrapbook store, because the first one I found was, I don't know, half an hour away or something. And then I found one that was like 10 minutes away. So then I became part of that community. And I learned a lot about scrapbooking, and I took a lot of classes. It was all paper based. And although most people were chronologic, nobody cared what I did. And I was pretty much chronologic too. I was, these pictures inspire me now. And that was wonderful. And then my local scrapbook store closed, and it was a dark period because I lost my community. I lost my community, and that was really, really hard. And today I looked up, actually found an email from Jennifer from 2013. I think it was right after I took, what was that, art and, not the
art and science of scrapbooking.
Art and science, it was, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It was right then, but I wasn't really hooked. But it was in 2015 when I really became a member of Simple Scrapper, and that changed the whole, it was what I was missing. I didn't realize I was missing it. So I've been much more productive recently. There's this big dearth of time between, but also maybe it was a dark period in my life too. I got divorced. Yeah, it was probably a dark period in my life too. And now it's wonderful again. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for, being such a loyal part of our community.
And my style changed a lot too now. It's much more fun.
Well, there's just so many more options now too. You can pick and choose.
I think that's true.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
I think today you can find your own voice.
Maybe it's 10 years more that allows me to do that better too.
Possibly, but in addition to, I think you just feel more comfortable. Not just you, but I mean you in the bigger sense. We just feel more comfortable being who we are and less trying to be somebody else.
Preach, Honore, preach, Honore.
I agree. I mean, that's the way I feel about it, because I think before you just kind of get stopped in your tracks because you can't figure out, well, I like this person's style, I like that and this, and but that's not me. And then you have to find who you are, and then you're free. You can move on.
Well, I think that fits into just a larger cultural shift of acceptance of diversity and being yourself, and all the things that we share online that are so motivational inside of scrapbooking and out. How much things have changed over the past 10 years, and obviously we have lots of work still to do in that arena. But just the so many voices, like even thinking about Brene Brown and her encouragement of accepting of imperfection, and all these different figures that are encouraging us to be our best selves. And think about Oprah used to do gimmicky shows about her fat, and then she turned into such a strong voice for finding what fills you up and going after that in life. So I think there's so many different voices in culture that are sending us in that direction that's so embracing of you do you. All right, so I'm going to switch the camera back here. Anybody can please pop in at any time with your story if you want to share.
I think we have a lot of questions. Chat people. I think we have a lot of chat people who are sharing over here on their stories too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, lots of good stuff.
So let's see. So Brie, of course, used to have her Coluzzle. Fran started Creative Memories, all in white pages. Helen started with photo albums and scrapbooks as separate books, so now they're combined. Tiffany used to be event-based. She'd print on film, and that would drive what pages she did. As, of course, we've talked to a lot of people started that way. Terrific. Yeah, definitely pop in the chat box anytime, or unmute yourself and pop in and say something. So you guys, let's refresh here. Here is my inspiration page. Move my camera back for you guys. Kind of got a column down the center, lots of fun little paper strips. And so I started putting together the bones of a page that's going to be about my new Felicity Jane kits. So it's kind of a silly page, but if you guys were here at 2 o'clock, or you can check the recording, I unboxed my first ever kits from Felicity Jane, both their Christmas kit and their November kit. And this was just a little extra card, just to thank so much for your order, that was in the box. And so I wanted to kind of use that as my photo. And just celebrate kind of just this new thing going on in my life. So I've got a piece of white cardstock here, and I took a stamp roller. I actually tried to do some stamping with the leaf stamps that were in my kit, but I didn't have an ink that was pale enough. It was just too bold, and it just didn't work out for me, but I had fun playing. So I ended up picking a color that went with the letter stickers in the kit. It was more this mint green color. And I just did some stripes here. I originally did them too close together, and I just did another one on the outside. And then we have, was off. So then we have our center strip here. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down. For those of you who don't know, I love the Kokuyo dot liner adhesive. This is my favorite because it is permanent, eventually not permanent right away. I love that it gives me some slack in case I need to pick something up, but it does eventually become permanent, and that's one of my favorites. The ones that are permanent right away frustrate the heck out of me. All right, so I want to adhere this down in the center.
Do you order that adhesive online, or is that a line you have?
I usually order it from Simon Says Stamp, though you can also get it from Amazon. I have always ordered from Simon Says Stamp in the past, and then somebody recently told me you can buy the refills on Amazon. So that's what I'm going to do next. And then I'll let you guys know. Make sure it's, usually I think it's from ships and sold from Amazon. If it was a third-party vendor, I might be a little more skeptical that maybe it's too old. But I think Amazon is selling it. It is harder to find. But I love it so much, and Simon Says Stamp always does have it.
Thank you.
I usually buy it from Amazon too. A lot of it is actually shipped from Japan, but it's actually cheaper than Simon Says Stamps with their shipping. And I've never had any issues with it.
Okay, good. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I just thought I'd tell people.
No, that's great. Yeah, because you never know. I've ordered I don't know, shampoo or something from Amazon, and then you get it, and it's like, this doesn't seem right. So.
Yeah, I ordered sunscreen once and got something that was the merchant had actually cut off the expiration date.
Oh, ew.
and I, that was really ugly, but
yeah.
And the one thing I have heard about that is that the stuff from Japan's actually better. Because it's actually the real thing, where we sometimes get it the US or something, with their specific dot runner. I've heard it's actually better from Japan. I don't know.
That's good to know.
Oh, well, that's what I'm getting. I'm happy with it. I didn't know it was better.
All right, so I'm gonna kind of do these paper strips a little wonky, just because these stripes are so bold. I feel like doing it straight it's just too much. So I'm gonna do slightly wonky. And so these are all papers that I cut from 12 by 12 papers from the Felicity Jane kit. And you can see these are double-sided. So there's actually only, I think, 3 different papers here. All right. My plan is to leave kind of a space here. I'm going to do a really small title, and then I have some journaling strips. I actually printed out my journaling on a piece of photo paper just because I knew I wanted it to be completely opaque because of the stripes. And so I will cut these out in a bit and put those on there as well. So I've got 2 layouts that are kind of partially assembled, and then I have one that's I kind of start from scratch, just so I made sure we have enough time here for everything. We're gonna have enough room. All right, we can definitely do. Keep picking up my mouse as my adhesive. All right, we got our paper strips, super cute. I wanted to do these little border puffy stickers came in the November kit, and this little curly Q one was totally standing out to me. I'll do that right here. Love it. Very cute. And then I think I'm just gonna do FJ as kind of my title. I'm not sure this one even really needs a title, but I think I'm gonna cut out the journaling strips first. So if you weren't at my earlier session, I'm kind of obsessed with the 6x8 size. Most of my scrapbooking this year has been 6x8 layouts, and my entire album this year is a 6x8 album. And if I do feel that desire to go scrap in another size, then I just make sure I have photos from a different year. This is the size that's currently really exciting me the most. I find it really easy to work with, and just consistently fun. I'm eyeballing these strips. Not sure I'm doing a great job of eyeballing them, so that one's a little better. So what's something in scrapbooking you always used to do and today you just like you couldn't even think of it? Like it just kind of makes you laugh to think about, I always used to do this thing.
When I started, I was hybrid, and I was all about the clip art thing going on, which was totally fine because that's what it was. But for some reason, it didn't occur to me that I could actually keep my photo on that page, and I would go and get it printed, print out the page on normal, just straight up printer paper, and cut out a hole and tape my photo behind it, which was like the flimsiest set of pages that has ever been known to man. And I did that for like 3 years.
Wow.
I don't even know why. It's like nobody ever told me that you did it a different way. I had to like reinforce all of those pages like 4 years later. I don't know why I did it.
Excuse me, guys.
To brads and eyelets and that kind of stuff for a really long time. Everything had lots of brads and eyelets. And I can't even remember the last time I used a brad. And ribbon. Ribbon was too. I haven't used ribbon forever. Ever since washi tape came around.
I remember the first and only time I used brads, I had a specific challenge that I had to do to use like a lot of brads on one page. And I'm like, why do people use these? This is a pain in the butt.
Oh, eyelets are worse.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you remember all the different ways we used to have to set eyelets? Like I had like 8 tools, and I swear half the time I ended up like bashing my own fingers and like,
Oh no.
it was terrible.
Like all the banging on the tables. Oh my gosh.
Everyone would move
so
the
I
whole
should totally
table.
say, I used my whatever grommet setter on my daughter's Halloween costume this year. Totally did. Yep. And I pulled them from my stash, and they were in like the girls' craft like section. So I had to like go digging through that because I thought I still had them. I had gotten when I first started at Michael's, it was a computer software program where you could type your journaling into shapes. So you could do like hearts and clouds, and I remember I did like a balloon, and you would just type it in there and print it out, and then you could put that on your page.
I'm pretty impressed that you were able to use it for a Halloween costume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for like the perfect motivation that's school related to get out my silhouette.
Your time will come. It'll be like a science fair or something.
Ooh, so we have to do that next week. So maybe the time is coming sooner than I thought.
There you go.
All right.
When I first started, we had all these lovely scissors with the decorative edges. I used them on everything. I hardly use them now.
I have a decorative edge punch that I'm going to use later tonight. I'm very excited about that.
I rarely use, I have a few that I still use, but not like I used to.
All right, let me figure out where this FJ is gonna go. No.
I have in some of my older scrapbooks some of the most elaborate paper piecing that I know I spent hours on, that I can't imagine doing that anymore. There's just no way I'd spend that long doing anything, I think. They're cute, but they're way too much.
All right, I feel like I need, I don't know, like one more little something here.
Okay, and I missed the first part, Jennifer. I'm sorry. This page that you're doing, why is it you're using FJ on it?
This is a layout about Felicity Jane kits.
Oh, okay. So it's about, okay. I figured the FJ stood for Felicity Jane, but I was like, why? Okay.
So
Thank you.
here's my journaling. I'll read it to you guys. I've always been curious about Felicity Jane. When my first kit arrived, I knew I had made a great decision. It's exciting, and I just realized I have a typo. So, I don't. Sorry, I just can't read. I'm excited to explore a new-to-me brand of scrapbook supplies that has the feminine touches I love so much.
Cool.
All right. I have a tiny little star here, but I'm just gonna, I feel like it needed something else. All right. So there, I've done now 2 layouts today. So this is my layout from earlier. I couldn't find the right pen, so I haven't finished that journaling yet. But my 6x8 is filling up really well through this experience. I'm really excited about that. Right. I also made the smart move of putting my recycling bin right next to my desk. So all I have to do is throw all the junk in there.
I like the first page you did. The background paper just kind of reminds me of fencing material. Looks like a little.
Oh yeah, I see that. I love that pattern paper. It's really just, it's organic, just brightly colored. Yeah, I liked how that turned out.
It's cute.
I would say this one though is a little bit more my style. Like doing anything with red is a little bit out of my comfort zone. Like muted soft colors is very much in my comfort zone.
I'm drooling over that curly Q trim. Like you're making me have all sorts of paper feelings over here.
Well, is the digital for this one available yet?
It's weird. They're a couple months behind, but their website was down. I think they were migrating or something for a couple months. Okay. And yeah, I think they're probably just getting back into the groove.
I see.
Especially if they have December daily stuff to deal with. I'm sure they're not really that worried about the rest.
Yeah.
I think they moved.
Yeah,
like,
and they moved, yeah.
Like across the country. Mm-hmm. Like maybe not the whole country, but like drastically.
Yeah.
Y'all may get these somewhere else, but I get them from Felicity Jane, those little round paper clips. You know, they have them in copper and so pretty and gold. They're like, let me see if I can hold it up. They're squatty and, whoops. They're squatty and just little.
Those are my favorite.
I love them. And the copper ones are to die for. And they come in these cute little containers.
Yes, I love those. I have a couple of them from some different kits.
Yeah.
Of hers, yeah.
I can't wait to get some of those. That sounds really cool.
Those containers this afternoon, they look really nice.
Yeah, they are. They screw in really tight, and they have Felicity Jane on the top. Cute.
I didn't do it.
All right, let's move on to the next one here. Actually, before we do that, it's time for, who would be interested in a giveaway maybe? We actually have tonight's, start video, show my face. Okay, so tonight's giveaway is it short? Let me check my thing, sorry. It is the short story album kit, Story by Stacy for Close to My Heart. Stacy gave us 2 kits to give away during this event. So one of those is going away tonight to one winner. And we're going to be doing this giveaway in the chat box. I'll give you guys a second to find that chat box. You're allowed to enter just once. That's a really important rule here. I'm going to pick a random number. I'm using random.org. All right, I've got my number, and then when I paste the instructions, you can reply in the chat box, but not until I do that. All right. Can I get some hands? Everyone ready? Everyone love giveaways?
Paper girls, get on it.
Oh no, where'd mine go? Oh.
Everyone found the chat box?
Mine
All right.
stopped.
What?
Because whoever comes closest without going over.
Is it okay to do?
Yep.
Okay.
Tara is our winner, 79.
Ooh.
Tara got
Wow.
mine too.
Okay, so I already won one. Can I win twice? Like, I didn't think that would happen.
Yeah, guess you can win twice. I mean, I guess you're just extra lucky tonight.
Okay.
Oh boy.
You gotta go play the lotto, lady.
Apparently.
Those kits are so cute. They're called story starters, Jennifer.
Well, there's two of them. We have there's a short story kit and then the story starter kit.
Oh, it's the bigger one.
She's got
Nice.
two different ones. So this one is the short story kit, and we're giving away the story starter kit on Sunday night.
Nice.
Okay. So Tara, if you could email me, I'm going to write it down, but if you could email me, I'll make sure that I connect you to get that shipped to you.
Sure.
Thank you. All right. Okay, we got our giveaway taken care of. Oh, actually, let me go back this way. Let's go on to another layout. So the starting point for this one is actually one of my favorite, more recent layouts. But I wanted to pick this one because it's definitely more controlled for me. I do a lot of like layered, off-center types of pages. I don't do as many that are grid anymore. And I don't know why, just my brain doesn't work that way, but I love how these turn out, and I love kind of being a little fussy about the details on it. And so I wanted to do a 6x8 page inspired by this design today. So I've got kind of a starting point going here. So I started with the photo and then just kind of trimmed everything to fit so that I could make that rectangular grid. I tucked a little one of those puffy stickers in between here. And this story is really about that my husband and I don't often get a lot of date nights, so we take date days. So we go out for lunch and go to a movie, or just lunch, or sometimes take the whole afternoon. Just because we don't have to hire a babysitter, it's easier to take time off work than it is to hire a babysitter for the evening. And so I just want to do a little bit of embellishing still on this one. First thing I have here is this little, I believe this is Allie Edwards, it could be Studio Calico, piece, very similar to the one you see here. I'll put that one down. This one's going to go by pretty quickly here. We just have to do a little bit of embellishing. All right. And then I have this grateful wood piece that came in the Felicity Jane kit. I think this adhesive will work just fine on this. If it doesn't, I'll glue it down later. Just because of the orientation of this one, I'm going to end up putting this here. And then I have a stamp. I'm going to use this date night hashtag stamp down below. And actually, I probably should have waited on this. I'm going to pull that up real quick. I should have stamped first. And I have my giant stamping block. My other ones have run off. Oh, never mind. They did not run off. I put them away. Imagine that. I couldn't find them because I put it away.
That's almost always when I can't find stuff, when it's way more.
That is funny. All right. We're going to ink that up. And right here. There we go. And then we can throw this back up on top. Hopefully. Yeah, that's fine. All right, and then I've got these little Chamel enamel dots. I think I wanted to do just this little tiny heart. I don't know now where I want to put that. Maybe down here. then I'm going to do my journaling here. I'm going to write pretty small, so I think this face will be fine. And that's really it. I mean, it's a really, really simple page. It's very graphic, very clean. Like this one, there's a big emphasis on here's a nice pattern paper to support that photo. And that's about it. So sometimes these pages can come together so super quickly. I would say the hardest part was kind of measuring my papers and overlaying them and getting that stuck down. The embellishing was super simple. And I love doing stamping kind of on the borders here. So, all right, another one down. Okay. So I'm curious, let's talk, maybe shift gears a little bit, talking about trends right now and where you see things going in the future. Like everyone thought that the planner thing was going to be the thing, and then I don't think it is. It kind of fizzled. People realized maybe it isn't as practical for memory keeping. I don't know. So I feel like that it's switched to traveler's notebooks on more the memory keeper side, though there's still plenty of people who do the all-out planning, but not from a memory keeping perspective. So I'm just kind of curious what you guys think. So if somebody wants to chime in with your opinion. So Fran's done one page. That's more than she would have gotten done. That's so awesome. All right. Who wants to chime in on trends?
I feel like in the paper world, you're right that traveler's notebooks is the thing, but I think in digital, we're moving more towards like almost like websites, like the Adobe Spark and like the website scrapbooks are kind of sort of taken off, where you just share everything like in a scrolling page. Like it seems like the software is starting to support that a little bit. And I think it's early, but I think it's going to happen.
So is it more like a blog? Are you doing any embellishing? Or like how are you? I'm trying to imagine what this looks like.
Like I don't do it, but remember Steph from Daily Digi, how she's doing more the thing where like you're in Keynote and like you add in your photos and your video. I feel like it's starting to come together where it's not really a blog, but it's like a thing you share, like a link you share to like one online scrapbook kind of a thing that has like video and multimedia. And I think we're early on that, but I think it's coming. I think for the people that are like, but I don't know if they'll think about it as scrapbooking. I think that, but it is though, you know, I think that's sort of where some of that's coming. Like, cause the QR code thing I think is going to fizzle eventually. Yeah. And I think we're going to move towards more like, ooh, here's a pretty thing, but it's playing your Instagram video in it. And it's playing your, like, I think we're going to get more multimedia moving forward.
So kind of a home for all your stuff, but that's curated, not just your Facebook feed.
Yeah, I feel like that's coming. I think it's just early.
Huh.
Yeah. Because
what's the role of creativity in that? Or is that going to be a different type of person who's really attracted to that?
I don't know. I mean, I sort of feel like, I think that a lot of people that are taking like all this video and they're not really sure what to do with it. Like, and you're getting these like 15-second snippets with like your Instagram stories. And I feel like eventually we're going to get like, cause people are going to I feel like people are going to leave the Facebook thing and they're still going to want to share stuff. But I don't think that people are going to go back to writing like full blogs unless it's like paid content, you know? So I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Adobe's really pushing their Adobe Spark. And that's kind of happening. I think it's just early though, but I think eventually like Issue is like, you know, the Issue app where you can make your own magazines, like with how you put Spark up on there. I think that you can add video and stuff to that too. I think, I just feel like some sort of multimedia scrapbooking is coming. It's just not there yet.
Super fascinating. I love talking to non-scrapbooking moms, just like other moms that I know, and just trying to figure out, what are you doing with your photos? And so many of them say like, oh, I used to be a scrapbooker, like I just don't have time now. And I always end up showing them the Project Life app because it's the closest thing that I can think of to merge what they're comfortable with today and what they think scrapbooking might be. here, you could put some stuff together and it's on your phone.
Mm-hmm. I've done that in grocery store lines, like legit. I've been like, no, but really, this is what you do. It's easy. It's fine now. And I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know if any of them have actually ever followed up with it, but that's what I end up showing people as a way to say that scrapbooking is not what you think it is today.
True.
Because I can't just like vomit all of the options to them.
Talk about word like overwhelm. Like be like, look at it all, everything.
So what's something that you guys used to do that you wish would come back, or maybe you see coming back? I feel like sewing on pages kind of goes in and out.
Yeah. Well, I liked the article that Kim did earlier this, I'm not sure when she posted it, but asking about the edges thing.
Yeah.
Because that brought up a lot of my old favorites were all the edge things, the edge punches and the inking and the tearing, especially the tearing. I don't know why. That's my jam. I don't know. But yeah, so remembering all of those other things that we used to do, I'm like, hey, I missed that. I'm going to do that more.
Carrie, I inked tonight.
Did
I
you?
put it on my table. I was like, I'm going to ink.
And that's your old school Tim Holtz foam inker?
The Ink Essentials. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Kim, you totally inspired me. I did digital inking twice this week after you brought that up. I was like, I forgot, like, I can totally easily do this.
Well, and here's the thing. It's the easiest thing in the world, right? And I always actually wrote in that one comment, like, I feel so crafty, but I'm just like, look at me. And it's like the silliest thing ever, but I don't know, it's very satisfying.
It's like, look at me, I'm Chanel.
Love it.
I'm chuckling on the inside here. This is, I love
I'm very
it.
tired of chevron. I know like that was everywhere for the longest time. I never got tired of chevrons. They kind of went away.
I think I finally over like damask print. Like there was a lot of hand bleed transparencies in the damask, and there were pattern papers, and that was like a really more like even a home decor trend. But like the brightly colored, like we're gonna do teal damask or damask. I don't even know how you say that, but like I never really kind of got into that. To me, I always think of like that with chevron. Like if you go on Wayfair, you'll see like patterns like that, and both of those.
They did kind of roll out at the same time, and they were everywhere. You know, like I have a chevron rug, and I think like 8 different people have that same rug from Target, and I'm like,
Jennifer, how do you feel about doilies?
Oh.
Ooh.
So yeah, I do not dislike doilies. I still always want to add a soft edge, but I no longer feel compelled to have a doily on every page now. And I feel like at some point I just ran out and I never bought more.
I didn't know if there was like an intervention that took place. Like some of your friends got together and said, we have to talk.
Well, I know that Stephanie Howell, who is a fellow doily user, she always, whenever she makes pages, she like defends her need to put doilies on it. She's like, "This is who I am. I'm just doilies."
That's just who I am.
Own it.
I can see with the Felicity Jane stuff, it's very feminine. I can see that I might need to purchase some more doilies. So, like, I even
Doily relapse. I feel it. It's happening.
All right, Jennifer got muted.
Yeah, I just say. Hey, Jennifer.
I'm sorry. Okay, let me start. Sorry, I probably coughed and muted myself. So I put a little scallop border next to the photo of my husband because I feel like I needed to do. A, I just needed to fill that space. But B, like I like the feminine touches, and it's okay. Like, and I can see doing a layout about him that includes a doily. So.
What you need is one of those doily, like, you need a doily silhouette cut because then you'll never run out and then you'll use your silhouette.
Okay. Have you ever tried to peel one of those off your silhouette sheet? No.
Honestly,
It
tell
has
me
lots
right
of holes
now,
and it's
you
very
would-
annoying.
Yeah, no, you would hate your life. Don't do it.
The new Mac.
I tried it. I did one and I'm like, never again.
Yeah, I totally get why people love that thing, but like as a digital person, I'm just like, yeah, I'm so glad that is not something I have to participate in. Like the only reason, I'm not gonna lie, I am hardcore jealous of the whole silhouette Cricut thing. There's this one person who makes these Walt Disney World lanterns, like candle or tea light lanterns. They're free and they're legit the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and they're all cut out by Cricut or Silhouette, and you fold them. And I'm like, I want one of those more than I want another child. And I just cannot bring myself to buy a Cricut just for these Disney. Like, it'd be like the most expensive freebie ever. But I won't do it. I'm going to restrain myself.
You need to find someone to print to cut it out for you and mail it to you.
Yeah, but then they're probably going to yell at me for peeling it off too. And I'll lose a friend.
All right, let's dig into the third page here. All right. So this is another album. I mentioned before that I'm gonna switch here. My digital pages are all 8x8, and I have 4 albums. They're Library of Memory. So this is the Us album. And got lots of really cute layouts, pre-children, got photos of the boys. It's our first anniversary. These are some of the probably oldest photos I scrapbooked. This is from 2007. I was in a major crafting phase. I was living by myself, but I knew I was going to move here, and I was like knitting, and that year I made every single person in Steve's family like a scarf by hand. It was like you can barely see it, but it was fabric on one side and then like that minky stuff on the other. And I thought I was cool as shit, and I'm pretty sure that nobody ever wore any of those scarves. But I was a super crafty person at that point. Yeah, I remember this one very vividly because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm taking a photo of myself in a mirror. What the heck am I doing? And then it just all went downhill from there, and I started taking more.
I was going to say the downward spiral starts.
Yes. So that was 2008. Definitely for some, I guess maybe because some of these stories are a little more personal. There's definitely more journaling in this album than the other ones. I remember very vividly. This was a gotapixel.com challenge. I remember doing challenges at their website a lot in 2009-ish with photos from the previous couple of years. All right, but the one we're going to do tonight, this was one of my favorite pages from back then. So it's a 2-photo page. And we've got like a pattern paper background. I still need to pick out what that's going to be. We have a cut craft, and I'm going to do an edge here with a punch. And then I'm probably going to use some of these border stickers here, or maybe washi tape to do something across the center. So yeah, we're just going to take that as inspiration and see what we can do. And so here's the photos for this one. And I'm looking at this as kind of a follow-up. So this was our first date was to the Covered Bridge Festival, and this was going again probably 2 years later. And so these photos are from going to St. Louis, the City Museum, and of course there's the 2 of us, and now there's also 3 of us. So this is just kind of the next phase of adventuring as a family. And I did try to print those a little bit smaller so we could fit those on the page. I'll have to see how this configuration is going to work out because I didn't rearrange that one yet. So, all right, we will start here. My voice is going a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead. So can somebody explain to Bree what the City Museum is? You have to hear it to understand it.
I'll type it up.
Okay. It's such a crazy place. I'm gonna trim up these photos.
Thanks, guys. I have to go there once in a while for work, and like, not for nothing. I mean, I would love to find something that's kind of cool to do. Oh. Ooh. All right.
It can be very physical. Like there's things to crawl through.
Oh.
There's also things to look at.
There's a 10-story slide.
Okay.
What?
Really?
And it's all done by artists, so it's not like a kid's playground. I mean, there's a giant ball pit, but it's all done with art, by sculptors and things like that for the decoration.
It's all recycled materials too.
That sounds so cool. Why have I never heard of that? Well, our headquarters is in like Hazelwood, so I mean, it's not like all up in St. Louis proper, but that sounds amazing. I'm gonna have.
Well, when you come, we have a meetup there. Because I know Carol White lives in St. Louis.
You're where? Okay.
There's several people who live in that area, so when you come, we'll have a meetup.
That's so great. Next time I go, I'll make sure. Next time I get a work heads up, I'll definitely let you guys know.
Your headquarters of what is in Hazelwood?
Mallinckrodt.
My daughter works for Mallinckrodt.
Oh, I run the DC office.
And where?
In the DC office.
Okay. She works remotely. I know everybody wants to hear this.
I know, guys. Sorry, it's all about us now.
Just me and her.
Yeah.
She works remotely but travels to New Jersey once a month.
I have to go to Bedminster this week.
Okay.
You know,
Just
see,
got
small
home.
world. Yeah.
Fun.
Awesome. Wait, but what's your daughter's name? Can we just throw it out there because I probably know her?
Carol, or no, that's my name. Jessica. Jessica Emerson.
That sounds really familiar, and I'm going to find her now.
Regulatory.
A
stalker.
I'm sorry, Carol, what did you say?
Works in regulatory.
Yeah, I work in government affairs, so that explains why I know her name. We're probably, yeah. Okay, I'll find her. That's so messed up.
Small world.
Yep.
All right, time to vote on a background paper. All right, we've got these photos, and we're gonna do the big floral, the leaves, or the weird diamond thing. The diamond thing is really going with my husband's shirt.
Mm-hmm. I like the diamond.
Yeah, it goes with the window too.
Oh yeah. All right.
Are you only using one? Are you or?
Yeah. If you look at this, we
Yeah.
got one pattern for the background, and then we're gonna do solids. I'm gonna do craft, and then another solid on top of that. We want to see some other options.
I love that floral, but
I like the floral too.
I don't
But
think
the
the
diamond
floral
goes
goes with the photos because I got a purple shirt on.
Yeah, I'm way too matchy.
Floral. Eliminate the floral.
Yeah, honestly, I like the white leaves because it's basically a white background, like, and it's graphic. But
Yeah.
that's me. I love the
In
flowers.
terms of, okay, so let's say we go with the diamonds. Let's say we go that direction. And then we've got craft. And then, ooh, I don't like that Taylor at all. Okay, that's a lot of blue. I don't know about that. Makes the photos pop. Then maybe that's the reason to bring in the black leaves instead. Yeah.
I like that better.
Because then we still got the blue from the shirt, no clashing with the purple.
I really like the leaves.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to like the diamonds, but no, it's the leaves.
Yeah, when we brought in the solid, it just wasn't going to work. So, but that's okay. All right, let's do some trimming here. This is when ends up being a puzzle. So, okay, just very briefly, and I apologize for asking a non-digi question again for all you digi scrappers. I need a new paper trimmer because I hate this one. And I have a really awesome paper trimmer across the room. I just can't pick it up and put it in front of me because it's 18 by 24 or something and weighs about 50 pounds. So I need a full-size trimmer that I can pick up and put on my desk that actually cuts straight lines without fuzzy edges. So what should I buy?
Well, I like the Fiskars one that has the wide base.
Say that again?
Tonic guillotine.
Tonic guillotine?
Mm-hmm. I used to sell Tonic and they rocked.
Okay.
Well, if you're worried about fuzzy edges, have you changed the blade?
I have changed the blade. I know it helps. I don't know. It doesn't cut perfectly straight.
Okay.
Jennifer, have you changed the strip that you're cutting on?
I have over the years.
Yeah.
It just always gets out of alignment again. I don't know.
You can flip that one around.
Style. I just don't like this one because I feel like you have to keep changing the blade and changing the strip, and
yeah, I just
find it unreliable. It's fine. It's just it doesn't excite me like this one excites me so much. And especially once I learn how to press on the plastic strip here, it makes me very happy. I just can't put a 12 by 12 paper in it.
Every time you scrap with that little white one, it makes me want one.
$12 on Amazon.
Yeah, I bought one.
$12 bucks?
I have I think it's maybe a newer Fiskars with a rolling blade. Well, actually, it's not a rolling blade. I thought I had a rolling blade.
That looks like a guillotine.
What? No.
Betty Lou?
No, it's not a guillotine. That's just the thing that lets you measure 12 by 12.
Oh, okay.
It's just a little, this kind of, here. That kind of thing.
That's the one I have, and I love it.
I like this one.
Yeah.
And it's light because it's not the full platform, but it does have this extending thing. Here we go.
Is that what you have too, Kim?
Except I found you do have to be careful though, because this on mine is not perfectly aligned with this. So when I want to do a really long cut, I have to make sure otherwise it can be a little wonky.
Okay.
Oh,
you have that Betty Lou?
Open it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
what I have found is that because the base is a little bit wider, it's like more than 6 inches wide. So I rarely have to open that thing at all.
Good point.
Yeah, that's true. If you're cutting 6 by 8, you wouldn't have to open it very often at all, either.
So, but it has a trench instead of a strip that it's cutting into.
Correct.
Okay.
I had the little diamond thing from like the little diamond blade from Fiskars like that too. I found that the roller blades tend to warp over time.
Yeah.
And not the versus the little diamond like sharp edge blades, and that they're cheaper to replace too. So like you don't really mind when they dull up a little bit. You get a couple packs of them at a time, and that was what I always used back when I was paper. I never had any problem with my Fiskars with that little V-shaped thing.
Okay,
the roller ones that were no good.
That gives me some places to do some research and start. Thank you, guys. All right.
Plus, I think the whole thing's like $15 or something, right? I mean, like, yeah.
My mom got mine for Christmas, so she's good like that. She's all about the scrapbook supply.
Good man.
All right, so we have 2 decorative edges we can do. We could do one that's very close to the original, which is that just a scallop with a dot in the middle. So I have a mini version of that, or I have the more doily edge.
Do you remember, it's called threading water. Do you remember when nobody could find it? It was sold out everywhere. It was the item to have.
What is it?
The one you used on the original, no, the one you used on the original was called Threading Water. And it was, everybody had to have it. It was the thing. Everybody was sold out, et cetera, et cetera.
Really? Because this is, Carrie, this is digital.
The original one is digital?
This is a digital page, yeah.
Is that a Scrapping with Liz template that you shrunk?
It's possible.
It looks it feels like her style.
I know that it's Kristen Cronenbarrow kit, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't tell that's digital, so that's embarrassing.
No, but that's awesome though. That means that's what I love digital pages like that you can't tell. Like this one too. Looks to me from on the computer, it looks totally paper.
Oh,
yeah, it does.
Good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So Threading Water. That's what you said it was called.
Yeah, it was, and it was a Fisker's one. It was one of the blue ones.
Okay.
And it was called Threading Water, and it was basically that, the scallop with the little dots. But yeah, it was all the rage for a while.
That's cool. Let's see. I think I'm gonna make this 5 by 7.
I found mine. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
There it
Oh,
is.
awesome.
Remember that one.
That's neat.
I think I was still paper scrapbooking back when that thing got released.
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
that's been like 10 years or something.
I'm a scrapbooking museum over here.
That's fair.
All right. It's
Carrie,
been a long time since I did this. I actually kind of don't remember.
Carrie, you're not alone.
Of course you have it, Kim. Of course. Because we are the same.
I thought Kim was my twin.
We're triplets.
Well, didn't they think that you and I were twins at one point too, Jennifer? I mean,
Yeah. I feel like my vision is not as good as it used to be. I might need some reading glasses here.
Yeah. It happens, girl.
Every time I go to the eye doctor, my prescription gets better because my eyes are going the other direction now.
They always tell me, they're like, oh, it hasn't changed that much or whatever. And I'm like, but I'm blind. Like, I don't know what you're talking about because it feels really different to me.
I can get a new pair of glasses, and I swear, 2 weeks later, I can't see.
Woo, we did it. Yay. Little baby. Okay. Very fun. I miss that. I kind of like doing that. I don't do that very much anymore.
I'm in full support of bringing back edge punches.
Yeah, you don't really see people using those anymore as much. All right, so we got some edges there. Ooh, we have rounded corners going on here. So let's figure that out.
I still love rounded corners. I don't know. I have a soft spot. Not like full Project Life rounded corners, but like once in a while, like the edges of a photo.
So yeah, let's talk about that Project Life thing. I am so grateful that everyone decided that rounded corners were stupid.
Thank you.
Because like, sure, if you buy all the same product and you have the exact right photo corner rounder, maybe it'll line up, but it never really did. So let's just make them square and not worry about it.
Yeah.
So we've got the green.
Never bothered me. I know a ton of people did, and I'm so anal about a lot of things in life, but that never was one of them. I was
That's
like,
funny.
I agree, Kim.
I remember buying like 4 different round paper counters before she made one, and I was just so unhappy. I was so like, I can't take this.
And I remember, these are very imperfect here.
You're just like, I still remember, I'm scarred. It was a very imperfect year.
Oh, okay. Well, I broke my rule here. So I was supposed to have printed full-size photos with no border so that I could round the corners of the photo. I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Look what I still have.
Ooh.
Corner rounder scissors and decorative corner scissors.
You know, I never had for the corners. I never had the scissors for that. That's awesome.
Oh, I love these things.
I bet you they're super useful though.
4 pair.
This is okay. I'm not sure how to get I'm gonna have to change this up a bit, I think, to get it all to fit. And my photos aren't the same size. How did that happen?
Well, why don't you just trim off the white and make them the same size? You've got a lot of background there.
I could do that. Okay. All right. Let's do that. I'm so glad I have, 30 brains here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Because one is not enough.
Did you mean to say 30 bossy women? Is that what you meant?
Not at all.
Well, that's always been the best thing about any crop is just getting second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth opinions.
Yeah.
That's so true. I almost can't scrapbook by myself because I need input. It's true.
Well, and this is going to solve the how did the photos not end up the same size problem, even though I cropped them to the exact same aspect ratio. So something must have happened there. All right. Let's trim that up. Okay. Well, let's.
Yep. You're saving?
I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing.
I have a confession.
Go ahead.
I'm still working on my cat horse foil layout.
Don't worry,
refresh.
I don't think anybody blames you, Carol. Nobody blames you on that.
I didn't really even understand what you said there. Your what layout?
The 3 words we had to pick, it was what was it? Day 4. It was a random number thing, and you picked 3 numbers, and Jennifer had this list, and my numbers turned out to be cat, horse, and foil. So
oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
Caroline got like the real deal on that one, Jennifer. Yeah. We were like watching, and she was like, "What?"
You could have lied,
right?
Well, no, I'm not.
Oh,
wait, you're gonna make something awesome.
You could get one of Chamel's papers that has horses on it or unicorns. I mean, you know, and you could do a cat layout and use some of her foiled stuff because she has holographic foil on a lot of her stuff.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, I made the photos the right size, and our pattern paper, I'm not going to have a lot of solid here, but let's see.
Oh my God, Wendy, you're so right. Unikitty layout? That's amazing. Sorry, I'm reading Wendy's comments in the chat, and that sounds stellar.
Oh God.
Unikitty.
Unikitty. I can see it.
Yeah.
This is way too much math.
Wasn't that Dear Lizzie? Didn't she have the Unikitty? Or something? No, it was a cat, a mermaid. It was a cat mermaid.
Mermaid? Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
I think that was Dear Lizzie had that.
I can't see that. I'm sorry.
Well, so let's talk about like designers and personalities. I've always been really fascinated that so many of the digital designers, the ones who are most talented, had made their way into designing for paper companies. And I don't know, and maybe Bree, you can share more of the history on that because I know you were involved in the industry. Like, was that really always the case, or were they just looking for cheaper labor as things evolved?
At least from like the industry standpoint, I feel like, you know, basically American Crafts kind of bought all the designers.
Yeah.
Like realistically, they bought all the popular people and they brought them all under one umbrella. And it was kind of like, well, now where do you, I'm not saying there's a shortage of talent, but like everybody that was known, that was a keystone, all went under American Crafts. Think about it, like everybody.
Sure.
And I feel like they're kind of at the point they have to find new people. And the digital scrapbookers that have made the change are really established. Like they're not, you know, they're not people who've been doing it for a year or two. They're people who've been doing it for 10, 12, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like and they already have like established blogs and they're already on Instagram and stuff. So I think a lot of that came from at least the people that I personally have known that have made the switch over there. Katie Perdiat, I always say that wrong. Designer Digital.
Isn't it Petite?
It's Petite.
I got nothing. I'm sorry. But yeah, like she was a designer. I think she went the other way. Like she was a regular designer because a lot of the people go in the they do the gift shows first.
Mm-hmm.
And you get known and those are the people that design your pillows and your fabrics and all that stuff. And it kind of, all that stuff goes seamless. Like, so a lot of the sales reps and the licensing agents that do all that they cover framing and gift, stationery, and they do scrapbooking. So when you're farming out all these designers, it's kind of inbred. Like, you know what I mean? So it makes it easier to get them from one section to the other. And I feel like a lot of those people eventually started selling their designs online. And then they did the Etsy, and then they did the digital, and then they circled back around to paper printing again. Because I think a lot of them decided that, you know, the digital stores take a pretty big cut.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and it's not as profitable as they thought it was going to be. And you have to do all the blog trains, and you have to do all like the store collabs, and you have to do all this other stuff. So I feel like we're kind of seeing the snake starting to eat its own tail. And we're going back to regular paper designing again because there is that big void now that American Crafts just bought the world. So that's my take on it.
Good summary. Thank you.
No problem. I can talk forever. I'm sorry.
No, that's terrific. I mean, I love hearing more of the backstory. And I mean, there's certainly people who would say like they were, you know, very prominent in the scrapbooking community for a while. And they're like, you know what, I'm going to do something different. They're going to go more into fabric design. And then you really don't hear of them again in scrapbooking. Maybe you come across them in the craft store somewhere, but they're not in the scrapbooking anymore.
You know what, but then they circle back in like 5 years too, and then that cycle goes down. Because like craft and gift only lasts for so long. And then it comes back and it goes and comes back, you know? I mean, that's like when you're selling it, you have to have all of them because like you could have a couple great years with scrapbooking and then it's going to be terrible. And then you got to sell all the gift store stuff and all the, you know, it just all rotates. So, and it's all the same type of customer base. When you're traveling and selling, they all congregate in the same areas, geographically. So,
it was because, you know, so Becky Hickens is at this Pinners conference right now, and I was taking a look at their website yesterday, and it's super fascinating just because there's so little there that's related to memory keeping, but it's just all like the DIY, like home decor, cooking, you know, more like personal lifestyle stuff than anything else. But some of these people don't ever consider themselves scrapbookers. That's why she's selling her, notebooks and her wrapping paper there.
Yeah. I am curious about that Pinners conference. I just can't I don't know. It just seems kind of overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff happening there.
What is Pinners? Is it like Pinterest related? Oh, geez.
But it's huge. I mean, it's like
they have like 6 different locations.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like a scrapbook expo for modern crafting-ish.
Yeah, I had a couple friends that went to the one just like a couple weeks ago in Utah. It's basically like go to booths and shop and free swag and I mean, it's anything crafty of any sort. Some do it yourself and some just other people make it for you so that you look crafty.
I feel like it almost became. Well, that's the thing is, I think it almost became because CHA used to invite a lot of non-industry folks, and then they really cracked down because it ended up just being like, I hate to say it, but like cluttered with consumers, and so they kind of cut it down. And it feels like Pinners sort of sprang out of that like void, because the industry people got sick of all the non-industry folks trying to gang up and get wholesale pricing on everything.
Yeah.
And it was like, you guys aren't stores. Why are you here? And then like they couldn't take care of their customers. So they kicked everybody out. And then Pinners kind of like sprang up just sort of like a couple years later. And it was like, they welcome everybody,
Well, because didn't there used to be a consumer day for CHA? That was like it was like there was an extra day at the end of the show or something that was really for consumers.
Well, it wasn't for consumers. It wasn't meant for consumers, but they would allow you to bring a guest because they were trying to get rid of stuff to not ship it home.
Oh, okay.
Like, because shipping those booths costs, like 10 grand. Yeah. So they would start like cleaning out the samples, and that was the only way, but they didn't want to do it ahead of time because you need them, so. But then the stores got mad though, because it was like then all these other people are getting all this stuff and then they weren't making any sales. So,
sure.
Complications. Never make everybody happy.
That is for darn sure.
Right.
All right. I'm trying to figure out what's going to go across here. I want maybe I'd actually use like this scallop or something. I don't know. If I want another one of those curly Q things is what I really want. So like I'd take more of those any day, please.
I want a whole pack of them. They're amazing.
You know what's funny is I have an old school KI Memories that looks exactly like that.
Mm-hmm. You still have KI Memories, man? Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, I do. I don't know if it still exists anywhere, but yes, I have some.
I got mad at them though. Everything they made had that like gel backing for a while that rotted like your entire scrapbook before they figured it out. Oh, it made me so mad.
Nothing beats their striped paper though. They were always the best stripes.
I need some.
Jennifer, that heart one is cute. What's that look like? The little tape.
Yeah, but I need something in between that, and I think I just want to cut like a little paper strip.
What about the yellow that was at the bottom of the Felicity Jane one?
This one? Or you mean, just do this yellow scallop here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I said I wasn't trying to be bossy.
No, I'm easily impressionable. One sec. I feel like there's gotta be. All right, so we were talking earlier about how this like multimedia possible direction for digital. What else do you see people doing more of coming in the future, or what do you think people are going to do less of? Is scrapbooking dying, or is it just changing?
I think I've heard the is scrapbook dying conversation like probably at least 4 or 5 different times over the years. Like Paper Clipping Roundtable did it at least once or twice, I think.
Do you think that the younger, I hate this term, but millennials are doing more digital books as opposed to the paper?
I think they're not doing anything.
Yeah, they're not doing anything.
A lot of them are they're just leaving them on their phone or their devices.
I don't know how many people I've talked to be like, oh yeah, like I had to get a new phone, so I lost all my photos. And I'm like, how do you do that? Like,
yeah.
And like, whatever. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm stereotyping millennials, but
yeah, I hate to do that also, but it seems as though the connection to some of the storytelling and stuff is kind of weak.
I would have to disagree. I really would, because I'm still technically in that millennial bracket. Technically, I'm like the last cutoff on it. And you know, my nieces are in their early 20s, you know, and they all they just don't do scrapbooking, but they do, like, think about it, like their Instagram stories and stuff, they are like chronological gatekeepers. They have everything from every family event, and more than we do, because
but how are they going to keep it?
That's the thing, it's all exportable. Like, but then think about it, our books, who's going to keep our books? Nobody. I mean, very rarely, to be honest, most people aren't keeping our pasted books forever. These kids are just going to do it all in a digital format, and it's you know, they're just doing it differently. I mean, my nieces all have memory stuff back from when they're 3 and 4 years old. You know, they'd gather pictures from their mom digitally and stuff like that, and
see, that's wonderful, but I don't see that very often.
Well, they're just doing it in more written ways, you know what I mean, versus creative, like artsy ways.
Right. Interesting.
I wonder if, like, if they've grown up in an environment where they've had more photos of themselves, so does that make them, like, less precious to them? Like, as opposed to, you know, my parents' generation where, you know, like, I don't know. Actually, I feel like my mom had a lot of photos of her, but, you know, like I'm saying, like, maybe there's, like, I don't know, 50 photos of their childhood, as opposed to now where there's, you know, 50,000 photos of your childhood.
Right.
So maybe they're not quite
like 5, and I'm like a crazy person now because I have like 5 of my entire childhood. You know, but I find that like they're not saving as many like the photos as much as we are, but they save stories. Think about how many screen captures and, you know, all that stuff, and they all have them and they share them with each other, and it's, you know, that stuff never goes away. I mean, it goes away, but like it's all exportable data. You know,
if they back it up.
But a lot of it's automatic now. You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff, like anybody with an Android has Google Photos automatically. You know, people with Amazon, that stuff get all sucked in there. I just think that we're in a digital world, like, and that is what it is, but it doesn't mean it's gone. It's just access to
different.
And it's just not what we like, because that's not what we're used to, you know, but the kids still have all these memories. I mean, they're pulling up and they're getting things like on this day and all this stuff, like every 5 seconds, they're getting some reminder from their childhood, from, you know, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or, you know what I mean, even Snapchats and stuff. Like they're constantly getting memory stuff thrown at them more than I ever did. I just think it's different.
So does that mean scrapbooking will go away because it's all automatic? Like all the curating are we going to outsource it to the AI? And so, I mean, part of what I do scrapbooking for is to curate the photos, to pick the best ones and try to like capture it. Who knows?
Have you guys ever watched Black Mirror? The TV show?
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard about it.
Okay. I will go on record as saying the British version is easily the best television ever made, like ever made. But it's not even that you like it. I just think it's the most intelligent writing of TV I've ever seen. But aside from that fact, almost everything has to do with how we interact with technology and the repercussions of that. And there's a whole thing where they put a chip in like, it's kind of like a chip in people's heads where it records every second of every day, and you can't erase it, or like you can always go back and relive and rewind and see it again through your eyes. And it kind of goes through the whole like social implications of how much memory is too much memory. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's kind of cool, because like that's where we focus all our energies. But it's like, well, how much is really too much? How much time are we spending recording and relive and not participating and stuff like that? It was kind of neat.
Another interesting aspect of that would be the fact that our memories are actually pliable in reality.
Yes.
And if they were all digitally recorded, you'd have the real thing to reference.
Yeah, not what you think about it and how you interpreted it.
Mm-hmm. True.
I think I like the version of memory from the Inside Out movie. The little golden balls floating everywhere. I think I like that version better.
Yeah. Well, better than Black Mirror's terrifying, yeah. But yeah. I agree. Dude, I cry so much at Inside Out. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Don't ever ice skate. You're going to make me cry.
I know there's a lot of quote unquote millennials out there scrapbooking too, though. I mean, I know the podcast Crafty Ass Females.
Oh yeah, love
very
that.
Focused on like that demographic, I guess, for lack of a better word. But I think that there's always pockets of people in any group or any age that are, you know, doing it differently than everybody else, but it's still, when you look at it, the same thing.
Right. In different formats.
Yeah, but today I had a conversation at work with my 20-year-old employees about how they're going to save their photos, because like you say, they're getting a new phone or they don't have room anymore, and so they have to figure out a way to do that.
Yeah.
Well, and the phones are huge though too now. I mean, mine has 256 gigabytes. Like, I mean, my first computer had 256 megabytes, you know, like it's crazy to think about. I wonder if we're going to get to the point they just don't ever have to offload them. Not really.
Well, even if you think of the way you guys mentioned Google Photos, and then also the way Lightroom is going, everything is going to the cloud. So I think eventually it's going to be so easy that all your photos just live there and
I'll be up there. Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. We're just not quite to the point where it can be so automated that it can be idiot proof.
Well, yeah, and like Google like builds books and stuff now for you without you even doing anything. Like,
yeah,
they make all your movies for you, which is honestly, as a person who's really terrible at video, like those movies are choice. Like, I'm just bad at it. That's Jay's job. He does the video. But I get such delight out of the fact that my memories are automatically in this little video and I can like share it on Instagram or whatever like that. And I didn't even have to put the effort forth. I can see where it's really tempting to not have to do it sometimes. Like, you still get the rush with none of the work. You know?
And none of the mess and none of the purchase and expense of the supplies.
Yeah. So.
But also none of the artistic expression.
That's true.
And none of the community and connection either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's very true.
Because when I talk to other women, there's just that deep sense of disconnection.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the chit chat at whatever event or whatever, but that, the ones that I know that are in a book club or have something like this, they have a specific community that they have sought out. They have that, but so many of them don't, because they're not into anything in particular, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I sort of feel like our generation is kind of in that gap though. Like, you had the generation before, you automatically had like the tighter nuclear families and then even the extended families. Mm-hmm. And like, I feel like we're kind of the first one where people just moved and left. You kind of have the diaspora, the digital diaspora where everybody's everywhere. And we haven't yet figured out a way to fill that. that like emptiness. And I feel like maybe the next generation will figure it out because you adapt, but we're sort of stuck in the lonely zone. And it sucks. It just sort of sucks. Like, so we're getting better because like now we have this. Like, and this, I look forward to this more than I can possibly explain to you. Like, I'm like, nope, listen, my weekend is happening, and like I have people again. And yeah. I love you, keep me. But I feel like we're sort of searching for that, and I feel like it will change. But you know, and we'll rebuild these systems. But like society-wise, like I feel like we're sort of in this gap where we haven't figured it out yet, and a lot of people are really lonely in general.
You just have to look at Facebook to see that and to understand that, and it's all its often terrible glory.
Yeah, I had to leave. I'm so glad I left. Thank you, Jennifer.
And reading comments on big, news articles, and just people are so,
so much.
People say things. The part that bothers me the most is the things that people will say online that they'd never say to a human in person, and that just further adds to that negative spiral.
Well, what's scary is some of the people would say that stuff in person. That's even almost worse,
Yeah.
Well, you start finding out what people are okay with doing, and I think that's the most disappointing part was that, wow, okay, so tell me how you really feel. Like, I guess I didn't know,
Yeah, I left for a long time. I just didn't want to know that about all those, about people. I kind of like knowing them the way I did before I heard that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So I did get the page done here. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's hard to fit all of that, but I got all the we got rounded corners everywhere. The one thing I don't have is any journaling. So I think I'm gonna have to do a 3x8 to pair it with, and I know I have another one of those in there. So we're just gonna say those are chronological together. I think they're actually pretty close, and so I will do the back of that other 3x8 with journaling for this particular page.
I adore that ampersand. So awesome.
Yeah, I've got several. I also have a gingham one, which I'm very excited about.
Ooh.
Is that on a Felicity Jane kit too?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
I can't wait.
So this is that November kit. Everything I've created today has been from the November kit. So I think is it called Amber, I think?
Yeah, it's Amber.
I like Amber. She's pretty sweet.
Well, I like they always have little girls, they have women for each one of these kits, and it has all thematic, and I'm like, look at you, all cute.
I know. But then there's like a stamp for it, and I'm like, what would I use that for?
I would have to art journal. That would be the only thing I could think of to do with that.
Yeah. Here's Amber. She's super basic.
Where's her latte, man?
I'm not sure why she's holding a pumpkin, because she should be holding a pumpkin spice latte.
Yep.
But I like her because I would totally wear that outfit. So
I can totally see it. Don't you have a coat that's kind of like that? I feel like I've seen you in like a video that was something similar.
Okay, and I have all the striped shirts. So all right, so now I have a giant mess here, but we have 4 layouts done. 3 of the 4 which need journaling, but that's okay. We've still got all weekend left to go. I'm really excited about tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I'm going to do how to get more you in your scrapbooks. So some of you may have seen this like 8 million years ago, but it's one of my favorite presentations, and I wanted to bring it back. I'm going to try to update it a little bit. Excuse me. And then also share some more recent examples, because I know there's a lot of older examples in there, but I don't know, maybe I'm selfish or not, but I tend to scrapbook my selfies. I take a lot of selfies, so I end up scrapbooking those, sharing my feelings about whatever. So I have a lot of different examples to share, and I hope to share tips both on the photo side as well as the story perspective side, because I know it's something that some people struggle with, and some it's no big deal. Or you may just want to figure out a different way, a different approach, a way that feels more natural, or a way that feels more fun and interesting. So I think that is going to be fun. We've also got 2 early morning sessions tomorrow morning with Natalie. She's going to talk first about making the most of not being caught up and how that can give you perspective. And then also sharing what she's learned from finishing bigger projects. So that should be super fun. We've got times, the earliest time, U.S. time zone is 3 a.m. That's on Sunday morning, and that's mainly for those who are in a different time zone where it's not 3 a.m. But we tried to make things spread out a little bit. So that
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, I'm setting my alarm clock because I want to say hi to Penny.
Agreed. I'm going to do that too because, I mean, 3 a.m., how can you not?
Yeah, right.
Well, Carrie, for you, that's just 1 a.m. You can just stay up.
Exactly.
There's no getting up. You just, make it a late night.
I know, and I told Natalie I'd get up at 5 in the morning for her tomorrow, so we'll see.
Awesome. You go, girl. I'm not doing that.
Well, I'll probably go right back to bed and then get up for your 8 o'clock.
Well, I'm stoked my kid doesn't have gymnastics this weekend. So I'm like, peace, I can do whatever I want. Like, it's going to be great.
So, yeah, 4 o'clock on Sunday is when my daughter has gymnastics. Why do you think I set my time for my last session at 4 o'clock so that somebody else can take her?
Sometimes just need a break, man.
Well, gymnastics is just sitting there. It's just sit there for an hour and see them part of the time. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, mine's still little enough. I have to help her do all this stuff, and I'm like, listen, I got like arthritis, I got herniated discs, and there's like 8,000 3-year-olds, and I'm like trying to like haul mine up this thing. I'm like, I'm not fit for this. Come on, like, don't I pay you people, make this work. I don't care, just make it work. So I end up leaving by like the end of my Saturday sessions, like, hunched over and I'm like, somebody else figure this out. I'm done. I'm glad you like it, kid, but I need a break.
All right, so also tomorrow, Kim is doing a hybrid layout session from 1 to 3, and then I'll be back tomorrow night. My goal for tomorrow afternoon is to print out a bunch of larger photos. I think I'm going to work on 8.5 by 11 and 12 by 12 pages tomorrow night to do full-size photos. Not 100% sure yet, but that's the direction I think I'm going. Because I haven't done that size in a while, and I want to create lots of space. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there when I start prepping for those and see what inspiring things happen. So, but tomorrow night I'm giving away a $50 Persnickety Prints gift certificate, which anyone can win, whether you're digital or paper, because I can print layouts or print photos. And so that is very generous of them. Shari from Persnickety Prints has been super supportive of Simple Scrapper since back in the day when she was working at scrappingsimply.com, and then she left that company to found Persnickety Prints. So Carmel is asking. Oh, say that again.
I order from Scrapping Simply. I didn't know that Shara used to be there.
She did, and she said that she hated the owner and he was sexist, which is why she quit.
Well, good for her.
Yeah.
I knew something went down. I just didn't know exactly how that panned out, and I didn't want to pry.
Yeah.
Ew.
It sounded like it was definitely a thing.
That's gross.
So,
yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we have Persnickety now.
Yeah, for sure. And to have a photo company that's scrapbooker first and scrapbooker oriented. So it's really exciting to see how successful they've been. Yeah. So Carmel just asked, hybrid layouts using Simple Scrapper, could you explain? Do we have to take the material in Simple Scrapper? So Kim, do you want to give a brief highlights of how you do hybrid and to give Carmel some background and folks a preview for tomorrow?
Okay, so I'm just going to show like how I do it because people asked before. So basically I use Photoshop Elements and I download the digital templates. So you get the sketches, but they also come digitally as templates from Simple Scrapper. And then I'm just going to show how like I basically create the structure of like my journaling and everything, and then I assemble it in paper. So as far as you don't have to take a previous course or anything from Simple Scrapper, and you could do it with any digital template. I just, since I'm a Simple Scrapper member and there's like 400 and some sketches, like that's where I go for my inspiration usually. So really, I mean, you could just watch and see if it's interesting to you, and then if that's something that you think you'd want to do. I'm sure there's like a 30-day trial At least there always was. I should maybe check on that for Photoshop elements. So then you could always play around with it and see if it's something you wanted to do.
Neat.
Cool. I'm excited because I love how your layouts turn out, and I've never used a template that way to just basically format your journaling and then assemble everything else on top of that. And so I'm excited to try that out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna think I'm crazy. So
No, I don't think so at all.
Say like this works. They're like, this girl, she's nuts. Like, but
No, I'm stoked though. There was some hybrid questions in mine, and like I kind of muddled through, but like I'm hoping that you have like real legit hybrid answers.
You'll probably have suggestions for me because I do things sometimes, and I always kind of wonder if there's better ways. And every now and then I'll go like, do like a Google search for something because then I can usually find stuff. But half the time I just like, yeah, this works. So
well, that's the thing. There's like 18 different ways to do everything. So
exactly.
I mean, it's a matter of figuring out what is going to work for you long term. But I'm curious to see how you do it too. And I'm like not even hybrid, but I just want to know. So like I'm totally jumping in and just being like, I'm gonna peep up on you.
Well, good. And then you can like pipe in with a, hey, did you know that there's like this easy code you could use and that'll be done in 2 seconds.
There you go. We can tag team it.
It's a shortcut.
Yeah,
that's
here's a shortcut. Here's a shortcut. And if there isn't a shortcut, make a shortcut. That's actually what I forgot to cover in mine. I forgot.
Oh, scripting?
Well, and also making your own shortcuts just in the settings.
Oh.
A lot of people don't know you can do that. I totally forgot, but I got caught up. Yeah.
So on that hybrid front, I'm curious how many people like printing and then cutting out things. Because whenever I've done it, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then I'm like, I don't want to cut all that out. Even doing like journaling cards that way, it just feels like you got to make sure you get a good print and then you cut it out. And I see examples of it, but I'm curious how many people actually enjoy doing that.
That's kind of how I do my paper scrapbooking.
Really?
Yeah, well, I print, my journaling is all done on the computer because my handwriting is so weird.
But what about printing like papers and embellishments? That's what I'm talking about.
I've done that too. It's just, kind of depends on what I'm interested in. It's more a matter of needing than I enjoy it. If I can't get it someplace else, well, then I'm going to create it on my computer.
Okay, that's fair. Kim, did you want to say something?
Well, I was going to say, as far as not so much like, I see Kim, another Kim, in the comments that talked about pulling them into the silhouette and then doing print and cut. So as far as, I will do that sometimes with digital embellishments. Like, kind of most notably is I have like a basic gray line that I really liked, and I waited too long to order it a couple years ago, and so I couldn't get the embellishments, but they were available digitally. So I got the digital ones, and then I did do silhouette print cut, and then that's what I used on my paper layouts. Or I think I've done that, like if I had like an old scrapbooking line, I had a lot of left, and I wanted to get embellishment. But as far as like, it occurred to me, like I created these like grid type layouts that I printed, but rather than printing it all as like an 8.5 by 11, I just printed the pictures and then I did adhere them all just to like cardstock, and then just this is all like paper stuff. So I get what you're saying. Like in theory, I could have printed this all as 8.5 by 11 and then just filled in my holes, but I don't usually.
Yeah, I always, the only time I ever did that is I would only make an exception for like really big floral like prints, and I would occasionally fussy cut some of that stuff, but I mean, nah. Yeah. I did like the look though.
I like the look also, but I am not a fussy cutter. No. I say, oh, I can do this, and then I start cutting, and then I'm like, whoa, no, I'm not. And then crash it goes.
Okay, Betty Lou, I'm totally going to interrupt right now. Are those all just giant stacks of books in your scrap room?
Oh, in the background?
Yes.
Those are my bookshelves. I live in a loft.
I'm moving in. I'm sorry. That looks like Magic Land. And I was like, I need to go there. where people just let you freely stack books wherever you would like.
These are from, the shelves are from Design Within Reach. And it looks like a stack of books, feet tall, but it's not. There's like every 8 inches or so, there's a little metal shelf.
Oh, okay. But they're so cool. I like them. That's very cool. Thank you. Look at that.
Sorry, I muted myself. I didn't say very much, but.
So I will say, like, when I do like the hybrid stuff, like I'm using it just to build like the structure of my page. So, like, here's the one I'm going to do tomorrow. I'll show everybody how I kind of like laid it out. But like, this is what I printed out. Like, it's just my journaling. And then as far as like my embellishments and things, I'm just using paper products. Like, I'm not like printing and cutting my embellishments digitally, usually. So I just buy paper products and then I assemble them. So hopefully it makes more sense tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I think that's the smartest way to do hybrid. Like, that's the what makes the most sense. It's it's a very mix of you're starting on your computer to get that foundation, and your journaling often creates that foundation, and using paper products to then assemble everything. And you can even do it where you're printing. If you print on photo paper, you can actually print your photo and your journaling on your background, and then add stuff on top of that too, depending on how you want to do it. All right. We have 5 minutes left. How is that possible? I want to thank you guys so much for encouraging each other, sharing your stories, helping me get to the point of 4 layouts done. I wonder how many I can get done this weekend in total. I can't wait to share. I'll definitely take pictures and share the finished results. One of the things I definitely want to do this weekend is finish up all that journaling. I don't want to let that linger. It's something that's been really important to me, is to not let that journaling linger. I have I think 2 layouts on my shelf that don't have journaling, because I've tried to make sure that stays important. It's been fun using punches for edges and corners, and to dig into my old digital pages and see what kind of inspiration I can take from those, and kind of honor all that has come in the past, and that informs the way we tell our stories and the way we want to be creative today, and how that might take us into the future, and how we're going to use technology, or maybe say, hey, technology is awesome, but I need to get away from technology a little bit, and I still want to play with my hands. So there's certainly positives to both sides, and I think we all feel that craving to do more and let technology help us, but then also try to disconnect. And almost like this thing here, this is such a great example, being here on Zoom. This leverages the power of technology to connect people from around the world, yet it's fundamentally a very personal and human experience that you can't find anywhere else. So it's kind of technology done right. And I think that's one of the things I love about scrapbooking, is that we can experience that. And what I love about this community is that we can all come together and share our love of this hobby, and share how we all approach it from different perspectives, using different techniques and products, and learn from each other along the way. Because I think that keeps it so interesting, that we can try different things and learn from each other. And I was so excited to see that we have such a wide variety of sessions during this weekend, with all different products and formats, and that really celebrates what our community is about. So with that, I think I'm going to adjourn, and thank you all for being here tonight. Kick things off tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., bright and early. I am very applauding those of you who are going to get up super early. I will probably be up, but I will be prepping for my 10 a.m. session, and I will see you guys again then. So if you guys want to continue and crop, that is great. I am going to kick everyone out, but you're free to come back in if you want to kind of late night casual crop and chat with each other. But for now, I will see you tomorrow. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.